All right, Albie. Wow, what a messed up start that was. That's a new one. That's a new one. Remember this time last year? I think I was getting a piece of equipment that for some reason wouldn't work. Isn't this time last year? This time last year was a
Yes, I
bizarre
think
time.
so. I remember that. Remember we talked to Menners in the hotel in Connecticut?
Oh yeah, he was
And I
he
was
was
like
very
under the
close.
stairs. Yes.
That's right. That's right. Man, what a turning point. But this was like the last eeks of when the world was right side up. Um okay. So I don't know. I don't think we should get too much into the debate last night. Um, but I think it's fair to say, people are saying that Ron DeSantis won, and obviously we talked about this. You talked about it. We talked about it on my radio show. You talked about it on Jerry Callahan's show. Uh, Nikki Haley just took a beating, and she's not great. I know that they want her to be great, but she's just not great. And I wish they would stop. There's no. She's not dynamic. She's not a superstar. She's not what Trump is. And there's a whole bunch of new polling showing that Trump is really widening his lead. And Biden is essentially undecideds are just migrating over to Trump. People
Mm-hmm.
have kicked the tire. It is Biden regret. And you've got in some places like 3 to 5 points for Trump. And let me tell you, Alice, I don't see how that plays out in the polls. I've just never seen it. I've never seen how somebody can be so verboten for or painted as being so verboten for a polite company for our political
What do you
norm
need right now?
that that American people are going to come around to it. I mean, how do you get somebody who's I mean, how do you get somebody who's like hell no to say okay, he's the guy. And also, here's another thing: is that there's Trump has plenty of chances to step in it for the next year.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But then again, is he? I mean, I'm surprised just looking at these polls, listening to a couple podcasts on the way down here, and kind of going through some people's analysis on Twitter, etc. His job, the Biden approval on everything is terrible. There's
Mm-hmm.
almost there's nothing. And like it's Trump versus the end of our democracy. That's what it is. That's the fight here is that the left will spend millions and millions and millions on telling us that Trump means the end of the democracy. But will people, because democracy at exit polls polled well, that our democracy was at risk and they didn't want to lose them. And it actually worked. And it worked in states like Connecticut.
I mean, but I think people care more about being able to afford dinner than about, like, quote unquote, democracy, whatever that means to them at the time, right? I mean, what does it mean to say we're going to save our democracy? It means Ayanna Presley's voting rights bill, where felons can vote and people under 16 can vote? Or does it mean that people accept the electoral college results? Or it means that, like the left gets what they want all the time, which is what I think they think it means. Um, what democracy is sort of an abstract concept, right? Versus things like how much money I have and can I afford food and can I make my mortgage payment. That's a lot more concrete to most people, don't you think?
It is, but then this White House then would have been if that those if the economy and affordability in your day to day and things like quality of life, I guess that's what really
Mm-hmm.
that means. If they're so widespread in the toilet, how is it possible that this administration is numb to it? How is that possible? I
Well,
mean,
I mean, I
it's
don't
funny.
think they know how to
But
solve the
hold on one second.
problems, right?
We today when you were with me on WTIC, we had a caller mention that oil production is up, and it is up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason it's up is for, well, this is maybe actually the more I talk about it, the more I'm answering my own question. The reason it's up is because the Saudis hate us now; they're not working with us. We've spent our petroleum reserves and some other reasons. Really, we stumbled into this. in some of the regulations we had on early in the Biden administration. And then they had to go hand in knee to energy companies and say, after they called them price gougers and said you were all stealing profits instead of making gas cheap, the administration had to quietly work with energy companies, even though they've got a big green initiative. They're all in. So I'm answering my own question. I'm like, why wouldn't you tell the American people that we have an energy rescue plan right now? Just call this oil production that's happening right now the energy rescue plan. But the more I say, why wouldn't you do that? The more it's obvious they can't do it
because it alienates their base that doesn't want us producing oil,
and they at least need the base coming out. They at least base coming out. But so now you're not. You've got a W that you can't tout to the American people. It's amazing. It's amazing. Talk about everything woke turns to bleep. This is like they have hamstrung themselves. Maybe it was all like they knew they'd be hamstringing themselves, and it was just simply all okay. We win in 2022, those midterms, and that's the best we can hope for. And there's nothing we can do, and that's it. Because I mean, it's not unreasonable to think that this guy's out.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, really, that Biden's. It's not unreasonable to think it. I mean, there's nothing left to the original veneer of Biden, which was normalcy, Uncle Joe. That's all
decent. Gone. He's a decent guy.
Decent, right? And people see now that no matter what happened at Congress on January 6th at the Capitol building, the collusion between tech, media, and the Democrats that happened, including the New York Post office, et cetera, was absolutely more, had a bigger effect on the election. You can do whatever you want, song and dance with Pence on January 6th. It doesn't matter. But people see this. And also,
people see the hypocrisy of what happened after that. Everyone was told on the eve of the election that the Hunter Biden laptop was classic Russian disinformation and all of it was fake. And now essentially everyone acknowledges that the laptop is completely true and everything on it is legit.
Well, yeah.
So when people watch that happen in real time, and it's like that shatters the image of the Biden decent family man thing, right? But then also, I mean, Trump's been tried. He's been vetted. We've had him as a president. Nothing really that bad happened. Everything was fine. The economy was better. The tax cuts were better. The interest rates were better. Everything. I mean, the foreign policy for sure was better. There was a lot that was functioning under Trump that is not functioning under Biden. The border, among other things, too. The migrant crisis. And, people remember this stuff. That was a real thing that happened not that long ago, the Trump presidency, right? And so it's very difficult, for Biden with his current record to go up against that. And, people point to 2022 and say, well, Trump's a loser, because all his endorsed candidates failed. Like, all his endorsed candidates are his endorsed candidates, but they're also not Trump. And he also wasn't actually technically on the ballot. And when it comes down to it, when people have a choice between Joe Biden, whose presidency they can see happening right now, and Trump, whose presidency they saw happening just a couple of years ago, only they can tell which was better. But I think for a lot of people, the answer is that things were better for them under Trump, and that, things might even have been better in COVID had we, listened to Trump more, potentially. So it really just depends. I mean, the Republican debate was interesting. It was certainly the most fun of the Republican debates. There was the most happening. It was like a total food fight. They were all
if you want to, we can play a couple of those.
We don't have to go crazy playing them. I think most people have heard the big ones. But yeah, I mean, we can play a couple of them.
Here's De Sanctimonious.
Reagan, Washington, Lincoln, excellent. One of the guys I'll take inspiration from was Calvin Coolidge. Now, people don't talk about him a lot. He's one of the few presidents that got almost everything right. He understood the proper role of the federal government under the Constitution. We need to restore the U.S. Constitution as the centerpiece of our national life. And that requires a president who understands the original understanding of the Constitution, who has a good sense of the Bill of Rights, and who knows how we've gone off track with this massive fourth branch of government, this administrative state, which is imposing its will on us and is being weaponized against us. So Silent Cal knew the proper role of the federal government. The country was in great shape when he was president of the United States, and we can learn an awful lot from Calvin Coolidge.
So, you know what? It's funny. I might have found the one of the biggest loser lines of the night. It's just the fact that he's making a thing out of Coolidge. Coolidge was a good president, and there's all sorts of things to say. I just don't know if any American knows who that is right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a perfect cut to indicate what Ron DeSantis was like during the debate. He was totally right during the debate. He was, he was good. If I could, I said this on the Jerry Callahan show this morning, if I could wave a magic wand and make Ron DeSantis president, I would do it. But we have elections, for better or worse, and you have to be appealing to people, and he just is not. And there's too much showmanship in this Republican.
Go ahead.
There's too much showmanship in this presidential race right now where it is not his year this year, I don't think, unless something happens to Trump.
I just think there's too many indictments. He looked pretty lame a year ago, Donald Trump did. Mm-hmm. He looked lame. But now there's just all these indictments. It's the pile on. It's like everybody's been tuckered. It has been Trump pilled. Here's Nikki Haley getting stabbed.
And this shows how hypocritical Ron continues to be. When he was running for governor and they asked him about that, he said he didn't think bathroom bills were a good use of his time. You can go look that up.
I signed a bathroom bill in Florida, so that's obviously not true.
Yeah, she was terrible the whole night.
The idea that you would say that I was against that.
You didn't. You killed it. I signed it. I stood up for little girls. You didn't do it. And there was this going on. I was actually just in South Carolina. Some of the legislators told me at the time there were boys going into the girls. That's the whole reason why they did it. No. And so they say when she does that explanation that doesn't hold water. And this is the upstate of South Carolina.
Ron,
I signed the bill. I protected the girl.
South Carolina?
She did not do it. I know that.
So one, he's fighting dirty, which is good. Two, for the first time, he's treating her like he treats the press. There's more of a dismissive disdain. And it comes through. And
well, because she's lying about him too, among other things.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, you go after DeSantis for a lot, but for being way too pro LGBTQIA plus, that's not one of the things.
I know it's not a very effective attack against him, to say, because he's like the governor with the book bans and the "Don't Say Gay" bell, right? Like, I mean, I shouldn't even say "Don't Say Gay" bell because it's not an accurate depiction, but to say that he was not hard enough on the woke stuff in the schools is that's not a helpful attack on him, especially when she's weak on that issue. But she just, like you say, totally took a beating. Do you have the Vivek, the Ukraine provinces?
At this point, she looks as if almost as if she's going to cry in this one.
I want everybody at home to know that I was the first person to say we need a reasonable peace deal in Ukraine. Now a lot of the neocons are quietly coming along to that position, with the exceptions of Nikki Haley and Joe Biden, who still support this, what I believe is pointless war in Ukraine. And I think those with foreign policy experience, one thing that Joe Biden and Nikki Haley have in common is that neither of them could even state for you 3 provinces in eastern Ukraine that they want to send our troops to actually fight for. Look at that. This is what I want people to understand. These people have, she has no idea what the hell the names of those provinces
She's just standing there.
To send our sons and daughters and our troops and our military equipment to go fight it. So reject this myth that they've been selling you, that somebody had a cup of coffee stint at the UN and then makes $8 million after, has real foreign policy experience. It takes an outsider to see this through. Look at the blank expression. She doesn't know the names of the provinces that she.
The crowd didn't like that.
Right there. The donors right there that are playing like the puppet master.
He is a little dirtbag, but he's good at that.
This was a pretty anti-Vivek crowd. And So I think it's interesting because obviously Vivek's behavior is the story coming out of this debate, because he was as outrageous as usual, and I mean even more so than usual. I guess he was going after Christie, going after Haley. He was loud. He had some attacks like this that I think were very effective, especially against Haley. I mean, I don't think you even need to be effective against Christie because he's such a non-factor, except maybe in New Hampshire. But I think that Vivek's attacks really hurt Haley, but I don't know that they helped him. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm seeing a lot of people say, like, oh, well, they're talking about him, so that's good. So he's a winner out of the debate. I mean, like, where is he picking up votes from doing this? Because most of the people who are liking what he's doing are probably going to vote for Trump, yes?
You're right. You're absolutely right. I
don't think he goes up in the polls after this debate. Do you? I just think that he's sort of where he's going to be, and there's nowhere really to go. If anything, like, if we're going to say the winner of the debate is the person whose polls go up after the debate, I think we will be saying Ron DeSantis is the winner, because if Haley loses support, then that probably most likely goes to DeSantis.
But
none of it is enough to be a factor in the actual primaries and caucuses.
Right. And do they have a 20-something% combined?
Trump's, I think, for the most part, he's like 40 points up in the early primary states and then like 50 points up nationally or something. He's up an enormous amount, slightly more nationally than in the early primary states, but not enough. I mean, like, so Ron DeSantis peels off 5 of Nikki Haley's percentage points, and now he's at 16 and she's at 9 or something. I mean, like, it doesn't help anybody. It's ridiculous. So, I mean, I think, while the Vivek thing was fun and Tommy New Hampshire says future plans, he's unforgettable, I think that that's true. I think he remains on the scene in some form or other, maybe as a podcast host or whatever. He was fun. He was funny. He was exciting. I
have a lot of,
I can understand Haley probably wants to punch him in the face.
Oh, no doubt about that. but I think that entertainment value is actually something. Something.
Oh, yeah. That's part of why Trump is still with us.
That is huge. I think it's part of something. And it's more than just a throwaway, a vacuous luxury item. I think entertainment value, in many ways, shows a consideration for the audience. That normal politicians talking about lock boxes and all of the above approaches and this and that, politically, a lot of times for many viewers can be absolutely insulting, because politicians are so managed and so packaged that they don't speak like you. So when you're showing a bit of fire or passion, whatever, finally you're going totally against, of course, what the consulting class would tell you to do. And you've stopped being safe, and it's entertaining, and it's considerate to the viewer. Right? And people wanting for this forever. I mean, when Herman Cain was saying 999 and being funny, it was like, oh, this is a nice change. And he had his time in the sun before he got blown up. And same with Gingrich, when he was scratching an itch for people just by being rude and going right at the press. And there is something to that. And Joe Biden thinks he has it. He thinks he has it. He thinks dog-faced pony soldier stuff. And I think Jill probably tells him, oh, you did it again. You slayed them. And I think he thinks he talks about fighting salt pork or whatever the guy's name is.
Do you remember the commercial that the unions did for him early in his presidency for his bill, where they had some like indeterminate Boston or New York or Rhode Island accent or something, and then they were like, Biden's a guy like us, he's a union guy, and it was like, stuff like that. I think that's like the image that he's trying to cultivate when he does stuff like that, is that he's like Scrappy Joe from Scranton, but it's really so annoying. You know what?
I think in as far as the general goes, I've seen all sorts of write-ups today saying if Trump wins, what's his son's the son-in-law's name? Jared Kushner. Kushner could join the administration again, could join again in the Oval Office. And they're telling us in a way to say, as if to say to us, and he'll do what he did before. and the sons might be around, and Ivanka might be around to do what they did before. They didn't do anything bad before. I'm sorry.
Yeah, what?
They'll
They'll bring peace to the Middle East like they did before? That would be convenient.
Yeah, but the left, they believe their own narrative. Now they're pointing back to their original fake narratives from 2016 to 2020 and saying, look, it could happen again.
Or they're like, we said he would last time and he didn't, but this time he really means it.
Right. He's going to be
this time he's really going to be a fascist.
And think about that. When he said that he's going to be an authoritarian this time, and he said, I'm going to be for the first day and shut down the border. It's like anybody who's sane in this country in leadership would say, of course you're going to shut down the freaking border. It's wide open right now. It's like an oil spill, except of people we don't know anything about. Can't have
the border
that.
is really out of control. It's absolutely crazy. It makes the border crisis under Obama look like a high security state.
Yes.
It's nuts what's going on down there. Yeah.
Oh, I want to get to something, by the way, Alice.
Okay.
I listened to you on Jerry Callahan's show today. I think you did a great job. I wish I had been available to make a promo out of a particularly good portion of it. I should have grabbed it. I couldn't. There's no grabbing anything. We're on the road. We're going on the go today. But what was you said at one point? You weren't allowed to say all lives matter, and Montante and Craig like bristled at that. Oh, we're distancing ourselves from that. Why?
I don't understand why. I don't understand why that upset them so much.
It
shouldn't be a controversial sentiment to say that all lives matter. I know that for a brief time and because of St. George Floyd, it was controversial, but it really isn't.
Yes, delete everything from 2020. The George Floyd narrative was BS. The police brutality narrative was BS. The white supremacy narrative was BS. A lot of the COVID scaring was BS. All of that is BS. LGBTQIA plus, somebody being demisexual is BS. That's all horse bleep. It's ridiculous. It's delete it all. Don't be afraid of any of that anymore. No. We're on the march now, not them anymore. These people are insane. The cut you guys played today with Ayanna Presley, she's a psychotic. To say that we have Jim Crow right now, it's the same thing right now because Donald Trump tried to have an insurrection, which of course
and because 16-year-olds and felons can't vote, it's Jim Crow.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
guys, you have to relegate the opposition to the joke that we used to treat it as. George H.W. Bush used to call them environmental wackos, and he was right. They are. These people are nuts. These people, the climate change thing, it's just another grift. Please, none of these people are doing this, by the way, in their spare time. They're all making bank on this stuff. It is grift. Just don't think anymore. LGBTQI, it's all whatever. No, it's not like that. Men are men, women are women. There are gay men and gay women,
and all lives matter.
Right. There might be bisexual women. I don't believe that they're bisexual men. There are gay men who may dabble with women as well. No, I just not. Yeah, in all lives, of course, all lives matter. It's fucking. Oh God, what an embarrassment that year was. So, Alice, we have a fat Shat Chat. Should we head to it?
And we owe Justin to play the rest of his dream. This is true. First, let's do our What's Up With You segment for the week. Since it is Thursday, it's our last show of the week, and where we talk about things we're reading and watching and listening to and doing. I'll start by asking you, what's up with you?
What have I been watching?
Shane Gillis.
Yes. Oh my goodness. That's right. I've been watching Shane Gillis. The more I watch it, the more I love it. We call him Funny Shane. That come through better on Zoom?
It might be improving. It's hard to say over Zoom. I'm not sure. I don't know that it is though.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it.
Montante very, very down on your Trump impression.
He called me this morning and threatened my life, as a matter of fact. If I continue to do it. I realize I'm not hitting it, but I believe that I did hit it at one point.
Maybe if you do it enough times, it will start to sound like Trump.
I'm going to watch this more Shane Gillis. What I'm going to be doing is stealing Shane Gillis's version of that.
You should record yourself. You should listen to yourself back because I'm not sure you're hearing what you sound like because it doesn't sound like Trump.
No, I am hearing it. I know it doesn't. It's ridiculous. But I'm really trying to force it to sound like Trump. Jay has you don't care. Okay. So let's go to the Shat Chat. So what was Justin's original one called? Sorry guys, we are dealing with dial-up internet here. So Mike and Groveland is back. Okay, the Justin one, was he as Justin? Shingle's household. Hold on. We got to do a thing tomorrow. Cold Medicine Dream?
I think that's it. That's it. Thank you for following the naming convention so we could find it again, Justin.
Thank you, Justin. And also, here's another thing. We do apologize for being so late today. I know in every day, it's so disrespectful. When I'm on, waiting for KMS to stream, I'm like, fuck on. Sorry about that, guys. We'll try to be better. It's not personal. Believe me, it's not personal.
Hey, Tom and Alice. I'm starting to think these cold medicine dreams are the best dreams. Because I had one where everybody, burn barrel related, Alice and Tom and all of the Shat Chat callers were all living in this small town like a Pleasantville.
Mm-hmm.
And they all had their own jobs and everything, and it was all in black and white. I came into town as an outsider, and Tim at Canton was the mailman, but he was reading the mail that he's supposed to deliver.
Love it.
He said to somebody, he goes, "Hey, all you got's junk mail."
Love it.
I know because I read it. And then then you had Alice was the mayor of the small town.
Here we go.
And then Tom was always down at the bar.
What?
That was run by I can't think of who the guy was. Who was the bartender?
Danny Pilricker.
Who owned the bar? It was
Tommy New Hamster.
Steve from Merrimack, I think.
Steve from Merrimack. He
of course.
The guy who owned the bar. And Tom was in the bar just crying about how he could have been the mayor, and he's a smart guy.
I don't like my role in this stream.
Everybody doesn't understand him. And he goes, it's just not right. I'm a smart person too, and not just Alice.
Why am I Fredo?
Into his beer. Very, very bizarre dream.
Oh my goodness. By the way, if you're in Connecticut tomorrow, Avon, Connecticut, Avon Old Farms Hotel, don't come for the internet. Come to say hello to me. And you? All right, Alice, ready?
I'm ready. You never asked me what's up with me.
Oh, jeez, I'm sorry about that.
By the way.
I'm sorry about that. What's up with you?
What's up with me? Mostly I've been reading aloud books to other people, which I don't have that much time to read to myself at the moment, but we have been finishing George MacDonald's The Princess and the Goblin, which I highly recommend. It's a great children's book if you're looking for a read aloud for youngish kids. It's a very good one, and we are looking at what to start next. I think we're going to get back into Narnia. I did Narnia with the older kids, but now I think the younger kids are ready for a Narnia run. And if anybody has any recommendations for children's books that are kind of fantasy, but they have to have a little bit of a modern twist, or our daughter won't read them. She's looking for a new series after she finishes rereading Narnia too. So, but stuff about a Narnia age level, but yeah, fantasy, she doesn't like Tolkien or Redwall because those are straight up serious books, but she likes Narnia or the Enchanted Forest Chronicles or Percy Jackson because they're sort of modern and funny, looking for more series like that.
Books is dumb.
No, books are fantastic.
Ugh.
That's why you have no inner life. That's why I'm the mayor and you're sitting in the bar.
Oh, so you listen to some of these.
No, I just started to play one when we were testing. You asked me if I could play something to test, remember?
Yeah, okay. Here we go.
from speaking, they will shut you down.
Hi, like my name's Alice, right? Like,
Hi,
yeah.
Morgan.
Taylor Swift is like definitely the best like right?
Ooh,
Right?
hitting
Artist,
you,
right?
hitting you on likes.
Artist, yeah, definitely. Like, yeah. Best fucking writer ever.
Damn
and
it!
we should flatten Palestine and fuck all the other people. Doesn't matter.
Morgan.
Totally, right? Yeah.
I agree, Morgan.
She does agree. Morgan, damn it, bleep yourself out. But I'm glad you're calling, Morgan. I really am. I think it's cool, and maybe we'll see you soon. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I noticed you didn't use your likes a lot with Jerry today on Jerry Callahan show. You were really good today.
Trying to work on it.
Good
It's
job.
a hard habit to break.
It's weird because you're such a bookish, statistic, analytical person and a dumb blonde at the same time. So it's a weird combination.
Thank you.
I love it. Believe me, I love it because it does all sorts of stuff. Well, you've got a good brain, and then you're pretty too. And you're entering another pretty period too. Oh no, hold on.
Hi, it's Morgan from Vermont.
Ooh.
Mrs. Muir. People call me the Charles Nelson Riley of Vermont.
What? Ooh.
I just want to let you know I'm a really good person. And I signed off my message by wishing the baby well and saying, retard. You were wrong on COVID. You're wrong on this. And I'm speaking to you behind a stainless steel mask that I never take off.
Oh my goodness.
And by the way, it's a big, fat, false flag operation. And let me tell you something. There's no evidence that Israeli innocent girls at a concert were shot through the breasts and the vagina and beheaded. It's all a big fat false flag. And I know this because I'm such a good person. And they want that effing land. Even though they haven't been there since 2005, they want nothing to do with it. They want that effing land. And let me just tell you something else. These weirded, bearded dudes in sandals, they wiggle around when they want to wiggle, and they send the purple hair people in there when they want people to look at people with purple hair. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, there's some Paul Lind in there. And Charles Nelson Riley is in there.
I don't know that I recognize all the references in here.
You don't know those names. Jimmy Bullock might be in there as well, but there's also some Beetlejuice is in there.
By the way, I have something else to add. Am I pro-genocide shit? Am I anti-genocide shit? No, I'm pro-imbecile because I'm an imbecile and I have no ideas. I don't read newspapers. I don't follow the news. I don't read books. And I've never gotten any additional information in my mind other than what I think is good for people like me. You know what I'm saying? Thank you. They chew it up and they spew it out. And speaking of which, I've got a Tumblr date. Hello? Thank you.
Is Tumblr a thing? Is that a date?
Tumblr isn't a thing for dating generally.
It means Grindr.
There's Grindr, Bumble, and Tinder. So maybe it's like a mishmash of Bumble and Tinder, but Tumblr is also a microblogging site from 10, 15 years ago.
So we are getting all sorts of
So I don't know. I like Steve from Merrimack and I like Morgan, and I can't really pick a side, even if Morgan makes fun of how I talk and everything I think in the world. So he's still pretty nice and a fun hang, and I'm not mad about it. Speaking of Morgan, Alex Jones was on Tucker today.
Hold on, Alice.
Okay.
It should be also said that Morgan has a beautiful and lovely and fun wife, Alicia. So
yes.
I do not believe that he enjoys the company of other men. We have been eyewitnesses to all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. You want to talk about as Morgan would say, in Montante would say, AJ?
Yeah, on Tucker, on Tucker's Twitter show today. So exciting times. If nothing else, I think that's definitely an indication he's not looking to be made vice president.
What do you mean? You don't think Trump loves Alex Jones? Jones could be.
Well,
in the
no,
cabinet.
I don't mean Trump. I mean that I think that could potentially be a damaging association to having a general election, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, it's all over. We're in a new dimension now.
He wanders the streets of Groveland aimlessly. They call him Groveland time.
Hey, Tom and Alex, Mike and Groveland.
Hi, Mike and Groveland.
Mike's Trump is great. That's all I was trying to do. Just trying to, or maybe he heard my impression and stole from me. So maybe mine is good.
He took yours. And now you don't have it anymore.
Oh.
Pleasure to meet you the other day, Tom.
Likewise.
Hopefully we'll run into each other again. Definitely stop, say hi.
Absolutely.
I'm also big fan of Shane Gillis. That special of his, he's about to blow up huge.
Yep, it's the best.
That bit about the Navy SEAL, it's just too much. If you're ever looking for something to listen to on your 43-mile walks, definitely check out Joe Rogan and look for the episodes titled "Protect Our Parks." That's Joe Rogan, Shane Gillis, Mark Norman, and Ari Shafir, just sitting around, busting on each other, and it's just 3 hours of hilarity. Anyways, keep up the great work, guys.
Thanks, Mikey. Yeah, so I don't listen to Rogan as much as I used to. I still love him. Still think he's great. I've just been, getting more hard news hits. But Protect Our Parks, I will check those out because, Shane Gillis is just the best. He's just the best. And it's one of those things where I'm not a comedian, or I've never tried to be a comedian, but I have tried to be a musician. And if the musician version of him had come out now, just a guy doing stuff the way he wants to, I would have been kicking myself saying, why did I just do stuff the way I want to? Why were we trying to sound like REM meets Weezer? I love Shane Gillis. The world is better because that dude is making comedy. I just love it. I love it. I love Rogan because I think he's one of the best interviewers and the greatest media person we have now, a journalist, which he somehow is. But I don't love his stand-up. But in Ari Shafir, I got to listen to more. And the other guy, Norman, I'll have to check him out too. But thank you very much, Mike. Yeah, it was nice seeing you.
You guys are totally right. When it comes to trying to impersonate Trump, it is so hard to do. The only thing I have ever tried to really say is, we're going to build a wall. We're going to make it huge. And even that
might be better than Tom's.
So I think we should all give up on our impression of Trump and just really enjoy the true man himself when he talks, because he is an absolute riot.
He is. What would you try to get else? Okay. I can't even with they call her. I can't even get that. I can feel me not getting. I just don't have it. But I had it. That's what I don't get. Is this part of what a drag it is getting old? Okay. BBP.
Burn Barrel Podcast.
Rich Little Jr. Do you know who Rich Little is, Alice?
No.
He is a comedian and impressionist. I don't know that he's still with us. He might be.
Loved hearing the Rich Little of the North Shore.
Thank you.
Last night. That impression of Trump, close your eyes, listen to it again. It is spot on.
It's like he's in the room.
The spot on impression of a vagabond, homeless Donald Trump who's been strung out on meth for 30 years. But other than that, it was spot on. Also, the impressions of Jason and Jay, perfection. I've never heard them in my life, but I'm going to say those were perfect.
Jason knows Kingston. And Jay, yeah. Oh, those. Maybe I should do less narrow casting in my impressions. They call him Lion Tim. Nope. God dang it.
And you have to have different names for different people. Not everybody can be Lion whoever.
That's another challenge. The writing in my. I should talk to, since Mike won't talk to me apparently, my own future brother-in-law, and consult with me. You know who is a good friend and a great guy?
Who?
Joey Dune, Joey Voices. Bet you he can do it.
Maybe he can give you some tips.
BFS. Here we go.
Hey, TNA.
Hey.
Brian from Salem.
Hi, Brian.
Hey, by the way, Alice, we need to start using TNA more.
Okay.
Search engine optimization. They call it search engine optimization. Oof.
And I'm thinking about going dink hunting tonight.
Dink?
And no, I'm not of that persuasion.
I get you.
I am completely hetero. I just want to dope slap a few of these freaking morons out there who mock real working world family people. And so hopefully you don't see me in the news.
Yeah.
But if you do,
and then when Brian from Salem is in the news, they're going to be like, he was radicalized by a little known podcast.
Supposedly, stinks. One co-host does an impression of Donald Trump. So but the next to the chalk body outline of the dink that Brian whacks out will be the chalk outline of the car cookies. On flying
Which Roland told us that might mean something else too.
Oh, Roland has some other. Roland is the producer at WTIC. And by the way, Tim, for many of you, other than Steve from Merrimack, who does know this, indeed, Newburyport is not on the North Shore, or West Newbury, or Newbury. The
Merrimack Valley.
Right. At least we are in the Merrimack. West Newbury is no Merrimack Valley, but like Salem is legit North Shore. We're up here in a different realm, and I understand those of you who live in civilization, which includes Salem down to Boston.
Is Salem technically Cape Ann too? Or not
Salem
quite?
Is just about, because Cape Ann is Beverly Gloucester, right? I think. So, yeah, but up top of Cape Ann, when you start to get into the, what's that called? Ganapi water? What's the water called when it's Charlty? When it's fresh in salt water? Clampy?
Brackish?
What's it called?
Brackish?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Brackish. Stop saying that, please. They call it brackish.
Really dangerous area, actually. The Merrimack River, where it goes into the ocean.
Please be careful.
Okay,
let me tell you the naming convention. This one says BBP.
Burn Barrel Podcast.
Was that Corky? Do you know who Corky was?
Sounds familiar. Is this like an old TV show?
Well, yes. Called Life Goes On. You know who?
No.
Okay. So Corky was a character bravely played, a great character by an actor who had Down syndrome. Now, I would put forth, this doesn't include me or anybody I knew, that perhaps in the late 80s, early 90s, many people, especially guys in their teens and early 20s, may not have been ready for such a thing. But thankfully, everything went well. Okay? We through that?
Okay. And I quote from last night's Burn Barrel pod. Damn it, I don't feel like Trump when I do it. That is Tom, his supposed Trump impression. Well, I think we all know why you don't feel like it, because you're not doing it. Anyway, you kind of feel more like Corky Thatcher when you do it. I don't know, just saying.
I don't think I sounded like Corky whatsoever. I am stepping away from this particular Shat Chat message very carefully. I am. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's because there's another person in the hotel, so we're down 50%. BBP,
Burn Barrel
the
Podcast.
stepping ons.
True.
You guys really should think about appointing Steve from Merrimack as your official ombudsman for the Burn Barrel Pod, because he is always spot on. As Tom would try to impersonate Trump and say the stepping on Shaddix. Oof, that was a tough one the other night. Anywho, I heard the complaint about having to beep a lot of Morgan's message from Tom.
Yes.
And that it was a lot of work.
Mhm.
And I just want to remind everybody that 2 minutes prior to this complaint, Tom literally said, in reference to poor Peter's pediatrician or surgeon, Dr. Mengler, apparently, referred to him as fuckface. It's not censored. So I don't care. You can have it both ways. I'm just saying, why you worry about being out swears if you're not going to about swears? I'm just asking questions. That's all.
They call him F-face. Well, let me ask you something else. I don't recall saying that, but I do. I am passionate about that issue. Can we just not beep out stuff in the Shat Chat? Just let everybody do what they want. And so everybody knows that the Shat Chat is rated whatever?
Well, you just have to label the episodes explicit then on the podcast thing when you upload them, that's all.
And what's the downside to that?
Some advertisers don't want their advertising content on explicit content.
Oh.
So it limits the number of advertisers that will advertise on your podcast.
What is the current rubbish that we're serving people at the beginning, middle, and end of
I know
this
there's
right
I
now?
know that there's a lot of Amazon ads on our thing.
Please buy those. Please buy the things that they tell you to get for the Amazon ads. I was just saying, there's a really pretty cook on Instagram who hawks a lot of Amazon clothes, like bikinis. She's really good. I fell in love with her for her cooking. I didn't know she was pretty. I swear. So I have no more ideas. But there is.
Speaking of cooking, we're gonna do a all you can eat podcast tomorrow morning. I have lined up a friend and fellow
indeed.
McDonald's connoisseur to talk about the big developments in McDonald's.
Yes, a very cool and dynamic chick, by the way, fellows. Still dating?
No, she's not.
Oh, there you go. Cool, dynamic.
She lives in Florida now, but they have McDonald's there too.
It happened rather abruptly.
No, it didn't. It happened in October. I talked to you about it.
So much changes around here. You know who lives in Florida?
Your
favorite president.
Paul from Florida? We have some Florida listeners.
Your favorite president. They call him 45. This is awful.
It's
getting worse.
No. Steve from Gloucester's is better.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, Tom and Alice. Tom, you had an awesome caller earlier, Francis, a.k.a. Frank, on WTIC.
Oh, yes.
And he spoke everything that we've all been saying. You've been saying it.
Yep.
And you kind of brushed him off as a wacko because he maybe threw a couple curse words in there that you had to edit out.
Yeah, well, let me tell you what he said. So he said they should bomb the goddamn Gazans and goddamn this is, and I was trying to stay away from goddamn, and also I assumed that it was all being dropped. He wasn't being dropped, but it was all being dumped. So I was like, it doesn't really help me to say anything here because nobody's going to hear anything. But I liked pretty much everything he was saying. But I could feel. They got an itchy trigger finger at TIC about stuff if you say
Anson, don't touch us.
If you say pissed off, they dump that. So they dump a lot of stuff. So I was like, oh, this is all getting nuked. But maybe it wasn't.
He's beyond true, man.
Yep.
He was right about stuff. He was
he was
passionate today.
It says they have raped the Israeli women.
Yeah, they've been terrible. And I did say, by the way, that it was Frank's best call. It was fantastic. He was ticked off because of it. I'm afraid to say pissed off. He was pissed off, rightly so. Those guys, Hamas, are freaking animals. I want every one of them dead with a bullet in their head, and I want the leadership in Qatar. I want them to have bullets in heads too. I want to see it on GoPros, and that's what I want for Christmas. That's all. That's it.
he also advocated for blowing up the Gaza Strip. And Tom, you've done that too.
Did I?
I
said blow up Tehran. I
kind of brush this guy to the side because maybe he threw out a couple of profanities or whatever. But man, this guy should be on your show. You should call him back and give him a couple segments, man. I'm just a little disappointed that you didn't kind of pursue this.
So
all right, that's all. I love you guys.
So we like Frank.
Thanks,
Frank gets a good amount of time on the station.
He gets a good. He calls every day, so it's not just nobody. He's great. He's great, but usually he talks about like respect and being Italian and women and gold and stuff like that. Today he was like on topic, in total beast mode, and he was fantastic. It was different. So, but I like talking to him all the time, and I'll believe me. So I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't assume that stuff is being dropped. Let me know next time if you were listening online or on air, because if you were listening
they may
online,
have dropped it on air.
I just assume the whole thing is being nuked,
and that's not under Tom's control necessarily. So
no. I have nothing to do with that. But I mean, but he was definitely on a great tear. Yeah, and we do enjoy Frank. Mike in Groveland.
Hey, Tom. It's Mike from Central Mass again.
Oh, different Mike.
I've told you before, I'm actually a North Shore guy. My best friend in life grew up in Groveland.
No!
So I've heard you call Newburyport Blueberryport, which is okay.
Yep.
I absolutely love Averill.
Oh,
but
good.
It's time you start calling Groveland Groovy Land.
Ooh!
I like that. It's much better. You call it Groverland sometimes,
Mike,
but yeah, Groovy Land.
Mike, I'm all for that. I am.
You're breaking up, my
Let
friend.
me tell you something about Groveland.
There you go.
Groveland's been nothing but good. Sorry about that. Groveland has been nothing. You know why I broke up? Because I was scrolling for a second, and that's too much.
I used too much internet in the hotel.
Groveland has been nothing but good to me. I like the restaurants. I like the bars. I like walking there. I like the people I see. At the end of that street, where 7 Star Street is, and that street where I saw Mike and Paul, there's a really beautiful woman who mows her own lawn. She is married to an imposing guy, I think it's in law enforcement. But you never see a beautiful woman mowing a lawn. I love that happens. There's a Trump sign in one of the houses, a couple of houses down there. I love that happens. I like the people who work in the pot shop or whatever it is. I guess it's not a pot shop. It's like something goes on. It's very spiritual, and they do hemp or whatever. And like, there's a bed in there. I don't know what goes on. I love everything about Groveland. I like Jerry's Gerrys liquor store. I think those guys who own the place are cool.
They've been good to us.
I'm a Groveland.
They were very disappointed. I mean, they weren't disappointed I was pregnant, but they were disappointed that I cut back because I was pregnant. Since they
call them disappointed Jerry's.
No, since they specifically stock things for us, and so when I stopped buying them, it caused a disruption.
Absolutely. All right. So that was a healthy and good and wonderful Shat Chat. Once again about the, it's the Avon, Connecticut Technology Challenge. Great week again, you guys. Appreciate all the Shat Chat messages. And those of you who I know that I love getting the messages. I think it's interesting because you're very smart, brilliant thinkers, and it's cool. And I love the idea that it's like fan friend generated content because it's funny. And at the end of the day, Jesus, life is hard and can suck a lot. Let's just have some fun. They call me Have Some Fun Tom. Let me take a look at you, Alice. I'm not looking at you right now. Let's see how you look. Are you impressed with me right now? Oh, I'm not even on camera.
You keep leaning around. I haven't moved. You've been moving all over the place.
Yeah. Oh, you look good. You look good. My pleasure. All right, guys. We will see you. New All You Can Eat podcast tomorrow morning with a fabulous guest. Single, fellows. Single.
Thank you all once again so much. Great week. Great to talk to you. And if you want to join Patreon, where we have like the live streams and some extra content, that's patreon.com/burnbarrel. Otherwise, the show is, of course, free at burnbarrelpodcast.com. There's links to all different places to listen. You can watch us on YouTube or on Rumble.
C'est la vie.